So it was school vacation week last week, Nicholas, and I love my daughter to death, and we had some great daddy-daughter days. But I was very excited to have her return to school this week, and we get an email and a phone call last night at 11 o'clock saying Dedham School is canceled. And what do we get? We get no snow, zero snow. So
Wow.
my day to sit and relax and read my books gets upended, Nicholas. But here we are. We're back, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, Geeks Worldwide Radio, the Dork Shared Universe, proudly presents to you the greatest podcasting team in the world. I'm your friendly neighborhood backcracker, Dr. Joe. He is, as always, is the nice guy, the fry guy, Nick Friar. Nick, how's it going?
I want to know why I'm labeled the nice guy, but especially after all the shit that I've given you today about a variety of different subjects.
Mind games. Mind
Yeah.
games.
Oh, wow.
Butter, you have
Goodness.
to take something away. That's how we do it.
There we go. Should have friggin' known better. Sounds like you, Joe, need to move up to Nashua or maybe somewhere up in New Hampshire if you want to actually have school canceled and actually get snow on the ground. If you want to get your money.
It was friggin' wild. It was friggin' wild. The roads were bare. Like,
That
you
was
kidding me?
that was a lot of like, and not that I got school canceled like all the time, but it happened often enough. But there were quite a few times where we got school canceled, and then it was like no snow, and that's when they started implementing like delayed school, like date starts to your school day and stuff like that, like half days, which kind of stunk.
Well,
But like,
they used to wait until the morning. Like, if there was going to be a
yes,
storm that was coming overnight, they would wait until the morning. And we've gotten into this sort of, let's jump the gun here, and be proactive. But again, they waited till 11 o'clock at night to send this stuff out, which was wild. But like, okay, I get it. The reports are this, but my beef, Nicholas, is outside of major league hitters, no one is able to fail more and yet still keep a job than meteorologists.
I could
Right?
not agree more. You are preaching to the choir.
Right? You know, major league hitter fails 70% of the time. It's a 300 batting average. These days they're getting into friggin' Cooperstown. These meteorologists, I mean, okay, I get it. They're all in the same ballpark. Dedham area was supposed to, get somewhere between right around 4 or 5 inches of snow. Right, this thing wobbles a little bit this way, wobbles a little bit that way. Things can be impacted. Right, but we got nothing. Squadoosh.
This is why one of the reasons why I never really check the weather. Like I find out the day of that it's snowing most of the time. Probably
Yeah.
not the best thing, but you know what? Usually I'm fine.
Had they waited till the morning, they probably would have said, "Oh yeah, we can have school today," and then I would have read all the books I needed to read. Made sure I got the last one. But
Yeah.
I digress. The people aren't here for Doc's meteorological minute. They are
Well,
here for March solicit, baby, books. We didn't have one in February, Nicholas, and that really kind of bothered me.
dude, it threw us off so much. Like it's like, wait, this is coming out that week. That's coming out that week. It's not like I'm checking it every single week that our solicit like to make sure I know what books are coming out because we can find out in a litany of ways. But it's like for us, it's a nice walkthrough of like, okay, we got this going on. It's basically what like teams do before the Super Bowl. It's just we do this week to week, and the Super Bowl only happens one time a year. But I will say too, one more thing on the weather note. What pisses me off about it, Joe, is that the people aren't out in their cars, so they don't have as much incentive to go and listen to the show, where you can find us on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Geeks Worldwide Radio, anywhere you listen to podcasting. I encourage everybody to listen at home, but I do understand, like for me, it's when I'm taking the train in or when I'm going to the gym. Those are the times I listen to podcasts most. So I'm getting in, 4 listening times per week. But it's tough when you're not going out and about. I do understand that. So meteorologists, I'm no fan of them at all. But what I know you're a fan of is we got some crazy news late last week, Joe, about your guy who you recently called dibs on another book for. That was over at Dark Horse. We got some boom news. What happened, Joseph?
It's been a good couple. It's been a good week for James Tynan. Something is Killing the Children was announced as being picked up by Netflix. They're going to turn this into a show. Just for the love of God, don't sweet tooth it. Don't sweet tooth it. Don't sweet tooth it. This is Daredevil, Nightwing. Something is Killing the Children. Kill it off. Those are my 4 favorite books. Please don't F this up. But really excited. It looks like they got there's some creators that are really going to that really love the book and are really gonna, you know, I hope they give it sort of the Last of Us treatment, where they
Mm,
really, stay true to the source material. And if they do make changes, it's changes, that sort of enhance the storytelling versus completely deviates from it. But that's not all, folks. I also found out, and I guess this was announced a little while ago. I missed it, but Department of Truth is in production. I don't know
yeah,
where, I don't know when, but that's gonna make a fucking killer show. It's gonna, because it's going to be like X Files, right? But more modern day, right? I think
hmm
it's going to get a little weirder, even though X Files, wasn't just about aliens and conspiracies. It also had that sort of cryptozoology stuff to it. I
hmm
remember the El Chupacabra X Files episode, which creeped me the fuck out as a kid. But this is going to make an excellent show.
yeah.
And so isn't Something Is Killing the Show. It's just these are two of my, some of my favorite properties by, a Mount Rushmore writer for me. I couldn't be any more over the moon.
This stuff is must read stuff. Joe talked about it on the show. I think they were both in within the first 10 episodes, maybe within the first 5 episodes, but I have since read both of these titles, not in their entirety, but they are absolute must read comics, no question about it. And the one thing that I was curious that I saw thrown around somewhere on Twitter was someone saying, I'd love to see Something Is Killing the Children be turned into an animated show instead of live action. And I'm curious, I'm sure you, like me, just naturally always think, oh, it's going to be live action. But do you have a preference when that idea is floated to you?
I mean, I would prefer animated would be awesome because I think they wouldn't have to hold back on
Mm,
anything. And with it being on Netflix and Netflix not necessarily always having the best CGI,
hmm
I mean, you can do it live action for sure, right? But the monsters, I mean, you're gonna have to have a Stranger Things esque budget, I think, for some of
Agreed.
these things, right?
Yeah.
And they might not have that budget, and
hmm
so Erica Slaughter is one of the most badass, kick ass, one of my favorite characters. Period.
hmm
Doesn't matter, male or female. She's just a fucking kick-ass character, and the whole story and everything surrounding it. There's so much there, and so much storytelling they can do. But the monsters they're a big part of it. Now you can get away with it, way by creating a sense of unease and that tension and that horror vibe with the monsters without necessarily showing all of them. But like at some
hmm
point, there's going to need to be monsters. So the question is, what's the budget going to be like? Will they pull it off? It doesn't, where it's not, Jupiter's Legacy esque.
And you know what else? Oh God, don't forget that was
But
that's
but animated, right? They can do it. They could go
yeah,
there. They could,
100%.
right?
100%.
Um,
Agreed completely. The other thing that came to my mind too in all this is probably going to mean there's going to be quite a bit of Something Is Killing the Children merch out there. Probably some cool shirts. Probably going to see the bandanas thrown in the mix too. And then I would think Bag End is going to get flooded with some pops, maybe an action figure of Erica Slaughter too. If they make these, they got to
if they
make pops at least.
if they ever, yeah, either one. But if they ever made an Erica Slaughter, action figure statue, fuck yeah, it goes right up there. It's a must buy. Uh,
100%.
just so fucking good, man. But
Yeah.
Tynan seemed really geeked up about it, so very excited.
As he should be. I'm excited for him. I mean, this is going to be great. Now, speaking of shows that or comics that do deserve shows, maybe more of the animated variety. We both caught up on Saga. Of course, we don't get review copies for those, nor do they need things reviewed because everybody's going to read that. I feel like the second arc where like we felt the second arc since the long pause is off to a better start than the first one was. Like the first one was it ended up being good. I think that Keith was a little bit more down on it. You were kind of middling. I liked it, but I feel like this has had a bit of a stronger start.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're all spoiled because
Yeah.
I know Keith didn't, you didn't, I sure as hell didn't read Saga, issue by issue as it was first coming out. We had the
hmm
benefit of reading the trades. And so when you read the trade for Saga, these 6 issue arcs, they read fast. I talked about this before,
It's crazy.
right? They read fast. The entire, you can sit and rip through an entire volume, like that. And when you get all that story together, boom, it's like an entire chapter of a book, right? Like each volume is its own chapter. So what we get when we're reading these, month by month, it's taken 6 months to get one section of one chapter.
Mhm.
And I think that's part of the reason why I was a little like, yeah, it's good, but it doesn't read the same when you can rip through an entire volume and you get that entire arc in one sitting.
Mhm.
And I feel as though, like, when we read these all down, when we read these arcs together, when when the last 6 issues come out as a trade, right? We'll sit through, we'll rip through and be like, oh yeah, fucking A. It's awesome,
Mhm.
right? Because I feel like with Saga, you need to read it chapter at a time versus chunk of a chapter at a time.
Yeah, there's a case to be made about having certain books be turned into trades like right away. Like once you get to a certain point, it's like I don't want to wait forever for it, but at the same time, like there's a level of like we all understand we can't just get like one trade one like every single month. It's just no reality is that realistic. But I think like if you go and do that here with Saga and you go and say, okay, we're just going to come out with one trade a year, I think people would buy into that and be comfortable with it. I understand why they don't do it because people like from a money making standpoint for Saga, like they're gonna buy the single issues. A lot of people are gonna do that, and then a lot of people are gonna buy the trades. Like people who are waiting and people who aren't trade waiting too, just because this is like obviously like the comic. But yeah, like there are other instances where I would like wouldn't mind if they're like, okay, we're gonna do the first arc of comics and then single issues, and then the rest of it we're gonna do trades. I think that's like the industry, like you get inside baseball. Like I know we don't get too crazy with it. I mean, maybe some people think we do, but there's conversations like that, and I'm always interested to see like how things are evolving on that side of the business. But that's a conversation for a different podcast, I think.
Well, that's the thing too. But it's not to say the writing hasn't dipped, the art
Mm,
hasn't dipped,
right.
the storytelling hasn't dipped. We're just now consuming it in a much different way, and so the way I think we view it, it's different, and it's taking a little bit getting used to.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. So for me, for catching up to, I also finally read the first issue of Gargoyles. I feel like it's a good thing for like younger readers who like have heard about the characters like from their parents or whatever. Because I grew up on Gargoyles. Like I have a couple of the other issues, so I'm gonna give it a look and see where it goes. But it's like the art's good. The art is very well done. And the story's like it's it's fine. Like it's what you expect it to be reading Gargoyles. Still got to open up Darkwing Duck and then Barbaric. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, what I was gonna say is I feel like Gargoyles is for someone like us who grew up with it, and if we have kids that are the right age, we say, "Here, watch the show on Disney Plus, and here's the comic, read the comic," kind of
100%.
thing.
100%. That's exactly that is exactly what I got out of that first issue. And I'm assuming I will with Darkwing Duck as well when I finally look at that. Barbaric, Hell to Pay, issue 2. I talked about this series on the show a little while back. This is like I don't want to say the Vault book. There's some really good stuff from Vault that we've talked about on here, and some more stuff coming from at least one friend of the show. But man, like Barbaric is fucking something else, and it is expanded at a crazy rate. So I can't say enough. Like I love Barbaric. So make sure you get on that if you haven't already. What else have you been catching up on?
So I caught up on Beyond the White Knight issue 8. I thought the series was supposed to be done by now. Still not done, right?
The,
Uh,
the Warpyverse isn't done. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I
right,
don't know.
right. Nightclub, issue 3.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. Mark Block, absolutely fantastic. Saga as well. And then I thought I was caught up on King Spawn, but I'm starting to get lost in these titles. So I read issues 18 and 19 of King Spawn, with issue 20 coming out this week. Due to the GD lack of school today, I didn't get a chance to
Mm,
read it. There was also snap with League of Comic Geeks saying the book wasn't
mm.
coming out till the end of March. I'm like, oh, I got time. Well, guess what, dipshit? I didn't have time, so I will have to make sure that's on my catching up for next week.
Yes, I will be able to dig in that for you guys today. And let's get started with what's new. Joe, lead us off with Marvel as we begin our March solicit.
All right, so we have Venom issue 17, X-Force issue 38, Spider-Man issue 6, Star Wars 32, The Mandalorian issue 8, which we should have had that in our news. new season drops Wednesday.
Yes.
So depending if you're watching us, that drops tomorrow. If you're listening to us, you should have already watched it by now. Captain America, Sentinel of Liberty, issue 10. Han Solo, Chewbacca, issue 10. Star Wars, Hidden Empire, issue 4. Star Wars, The High Republic, The Blade, issue 3. Real quick about this, what I'll say,
Yeah, I was gonna ask
Nicholas,
you.
it's a good book. I don't know if I'll talk about on TLDR, so if you want to start reading it, go right
Okay.
ahead.
I'm gonna give you to the end of the arc. I just want to see because I'm like at this
It's
point at
good.
issue
It's
3.
good, but I don't know if I would like, you know what I mean? Like there's books that
Mm,
I enjoy, I don't necessarily,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you want to start reading that, but by all means,
Okay.
I'm not gonna deprive you on that. But what we have that I want to talk about real quick is Ghost Rider issue 12, written by Ben Percy, and we've been talking about this entire run of Ghost Rider, and I think we were getting to the point we weren't sure if it was going to keep going on, or if it was going to end at issue 12, or
He
what the
said as
deal was going to be.
much.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, ben, when we had Benjamin Person on the show last year and talking about ahead of Ghost Rider beginning, he's like Ghost Rider always only lasts so long. So like
yeah.
to be at this point, like I mean, and it makes sense. I mean, we've both been loving Ghost Rider.
Yeah, and it was fantastic. I mean, I feel like the last several issues have been some of the series' best, which is saying something because it started off, pun intended,
Mhm.
on fire.
Mhm.
But this issue, the way it ends, what it sets up, there's an introduction here at the end, and you get this kind of weird build up to it where you're like, what the heck, and then boom, and it go, fuck, yes. Oh my god, where is this going? It's gonna be fucking epic, and
Oh
and
man.
just the art, everything about it. So like, the breadcrumbs were there throughout the issue, but with this type of character, you don't know if it's what's real and what isn't real, and then boom, you see it. You yes, gimme. So it was really fucking good.
And I gotta say too, like one thing about this title that's really like underrated for me is Corey Smith started out as the artist, and I believe he's the artist on this issue as well. And like we've said, one of the things that for me has always like ever since I think I was a kid was a gripe with comics, especially superhero comics, is like from the big two, you don't always have the same artist on the series, and obviously naturally like artists are going to go in and out, but especially when it's like they're in and they're out, and it's like, and I understand stuff happens. Like as an adult, I get it, but as a kid, you don't. I gotta say, with Ghost Rider, they've done a really good job of like making that like not be an issue
Yeah,
whatsoever. Like Corey Smith's art is still my favorite for Ghost Rider, but for throughout the series. But I like it's every like I don't think I've read a single Ghost Rider issue. I know I haven't, and been like, oh, the art was off. Like that hasn't
yeah.
happened.
It's seemed fairly seamless.
Yeah,
A little stylistic changes here and there. I think
hundred
Kubert
percent.
did. I think Kubert did an issue, but he's very in the same vein. So like, it's been excellent, all
Yeah.
all around excellent.
Now we got a couple first issues that are out this week. Actually, quite a few. We got Murder World Game Over issue 1 from Jim Zub and Ray Fox. Hallows Eve from Erica Schultz, Michael Dowling, excuse me. Spider Gwen Shadow Clones issue 1 by Emily Kim and Key Zama. Are you going to get this for Swaggins?
Oh, I don't know. We'll see. I gotta
Okay.
flip through it and see what it's like.
Spider-Man Unforgiven issue 1 by Tim Seeley and Sid Cotain, and then I Am Iron Man issue 1 by Maria Ayodele and Aditon Akande. I think I actually got those both right. I apologize if I didn't. But we have two other first issues, Joe. I know one you wanted to highlight, one that I read that I'm very excited about, both from the same writer.
Yeah, so I'm interested in the second one, and it's Cosmic Ghost Rider issue 1, written by Stephanie Phillips, with art by Juan Cabal and Jonas Scharf. Vengeance reawakened in a far-flung corner of deep space. Frank Castle has eked out a quiet existence. His days as comic Ghost Rider finally behind him, but across the universe, a vicious bounty hunter is leaving a trail of bodies in his wake, and his name is Cosmic Ghost Rider. When Frank's peaceful existence is shattered, he must suit up once more to face his most powerful, savage enemy yet, himself. Be there for the start of the sprawling space adventure with shocking twists and turns in the saga of Cosmic Ghost Rider. So, very unfamiliar with Cosmic Ghost Rider, but love Stephanie Phillips
Mm.
writing. So this is what I definitely want to check out.
Yeah, people like Cosmic Ghost Rider quite a bit. So give that a look. I wasn't gonna. So give it a look. If you want first crack at it, by all means, go ahead. See if you want to end up calling dibs. But if not, let me know because I will give it a look either way. But speaking of Stephanie Phillips, the title that I've been waiting for a little bit is Rogue and Gambit issue 1. Stephanie Phillips is the writer. Carlos Gomez is the artist. And we've gotten a Rogue and Gambit series a while back with Kelly Thompson that turned into Mr. and Mrs. X, and I really liked her work on both those characters quite a bit. Gambit is a character who, both of them are characters I really, really like. I mean, Gambit's one of my all-time characters. Probably Wolverine was probably my first favorite superhero. Then Gambit once I got to know him. But I will say, with Gambit, there have been times over the years where he hasn't been immensely well written, and I get that's that's one of the few characters where I can get frustrated with that, whether it's his writing or sometimes the stories. It's more so about how he's written, and it's difficult. So that's the first thing that I'm looking at when I'm reading Stephanie Phillips writing, because Kelly Thompson did an awesome job with it, and the dynamic with the two, she did great. And then Rogue and Gambit, I read this first issue and I'm like, yes, like it did not take me long. The first couple pages, Gambit, and right away it's like, thank you for starting it this way. This is exactly like how Gambit like you have his voice, you have it, and I love it. And then Rogue is well done as well, which is also not necessarily easy to do. But I really like the start of this. Destiny is involved, who's Rogue's like stepmother. Kind of stepmother because of Mystique. So it's an interesting dynamic there, with her, Rogue, and with Gambit there. So I thought it was a really good start to the issue. The art is really good too. It feels very much like a lot of the X-Men universe stuff that we're getting. So I do appreciate that vibe, because that's been good quality artwork across the board with all the X-Men stuff. But Rogue and Gambit, really strong start. Very excited after the first issue.
Love that. Absolutely. Because I love his characters too. And what I was going to say is, to my right here, you can't see it, but I've got 4 Funko Pops. I've got my X-Men, the animated series book that I bought a while back. And then in front of it is Funko Pops of Wolverine. Next to him is Rogue. Next to her is Gambit. And next to him is Nightcrawler.
Nice. Yeah, Nightcrawler's
Yeah.
man. He's an
Yeah.
all-timer for me too. It's weird. Like he was only in like one or two. Like there was only one, I think, X-Men the animated series episode of him. Like that was like where he was at the center of things, and it was a really good one. But
Yeah.
but obviously, like I've seen him plenty elsewhere. All right, so let's move over to DC. No books that you and I want to highlight this week, so I'll try and be quick with this. Detective Comics 1069, nice.
Nice.
Action Comics 1052, Batman versus Robin 5, The Human Target issue 12. Actually, did you fall off on this one? Because you liked
I
it
got
at
to
first.
read the I love the first series, the first arc. I fell behind on the second arc, so I'm trade waiting for it now, and I'll just read it all at once.
Gotcha. Harley Quinn 27, The Riddler Year 1, issue 3, Tim Drake Robin issue 6, Stargirl The Lost Children issue 4, Punchline The Gotham Game issue 5, Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead issue 6, Gotham Knights Gilded City issue 5, Blue Beetle Graduation Day issue 4, Sandman Universe The Dead Boy Detectives, Joe's favorite series, issue 3, Batman The Audio Adventures issue 5. I still haven't looked at Nightmare Country, and I got it because of how much that freaked you the fuck out. Shazam Fury of the Gods special, Shazamily Matters issue 1. I mean, this is a
Get the
little,
fuck out of here with that fucking title. Jesus Christ.
you got a variety of artists and writers included on this one, and we're just gonna leave them alone. And then we got
Although I will say the actors and actresses that were in the movie to do some writing. So like Zachary
Oh,
Levi. So it's a 96 page book, and it's a series of short stories. So Zachary Levi, Adrian Brody, for example.
that's Adam Brody. I don't think that's Adrian Brody.
Adam Brody, yeah, Jesus.
I don't think.
Yeah, the piano meets Shazam.
Oh man. And then to wrap up the DC stuff, we got DC RWBY issue 1 from Marguerite Bennett and Megan Hetrick. That's not something we're reading. So anyways,
Yeah.
let's move over to Image.
All righty. So not a ton by Image, but a couple of doozies.
Mm-hmm.
So for continuing series, we have Ordinary Gods issue 10, which I am woefully behind on. I need to just I need to read this all at once because so much happens and there's been so much time
Yeah.
in between issues. I completely forgot. My fucking old ass brain can't remember it all.
Mm.
With Savage Dragon, issue 264. But we do have 3 books that we want to discuss. So let's discuss the 2 ongoing books first, and then we'll get into the new book that drops this week.
Okay, I'll start us off with Radiant Black. So issue 22 is out this week, and obviously we've gotten some news from Kyle Higgins recently too about the big war that's coming. I think it's issue 25 of Radiant Black. Obviously, a lot going on in the Masterverse. Joe and I can't talk about it enough. It's funny because like Kyle started this, and obviously Marvel has its shared universe in DC, and there are I feel like there were other shared universes in some capacity, but to me, it just feels like Radiant Black did it, and now everybody else is trying to like do the same thing and capitalize it and expand on it. And some of it I'm here for, but some of it I'm like, really? Like it's just like come on, like to take it easy. But hey, Kyle's a trendsetter, and obviously he's done really well over there. And obviously had Michael Busuttil on a little while back. But anyways, so this issue, for me, as someone who has like a writing background from work and everything like that, and obviously in sports primarily, this was like an interesting experience, like reading this because I wonder how much of this kind of comes from Kyle's life. Like I know because Kyle said he's more. Which character did he say he's more like? I
Not
can't.
Marshall, the other guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Why am I blanking on his
well,
name
I'm
right now?
turning 41 in 2 weeks, so I have an excuse. I
Okay.
can't remember.
Yeah.
Suffering from CRS, can't remember shit.
Uh, anyways, I thought that it was really interesting, like seeing this, like seeing what he's pulling from here, and there's like a huge betrayal in this issue, and like yeah, in terms of like the larger like Radiant Black story, it feels like the ending's very surprising, but I don't know how much it's impacting the rest of it outside of the ending, which could have some serious ramifications for the title. But I was like blown. I just found it very interesting reading the whole thing, seeing what this character's going through. We haven't had Kyle on a long time, but I would love to ask him like, is this from like your experience, or do you know someone who this happened
Nathan
to?
and
Because
Marshall. Nathan and Marshall.
jeez. So I was like, what? Yeah, Nate. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm just curious. Like, did this happen to you or somebody you knew? Because that's brutal if that's the case, man.
Yeah, that felt deeply personal. When you read the book, you'll know what we're talking about. Because this was very focused, on Nathan, and him sort of, rekindling. It's been building up to this a little bit. So since he's awakened, from his coma for the past several issues,
Hmm.
so it's been building up to it. So like I said, this felt very personal. Like this came from a very personal space. So like I do wonder if it's either happened to him or someone he knew, and it was a story he wanted to kind of share because
Hmm.
it was pretty wild.
Yeah, it was. And speaking of wild too, moving over to King Spawn issue 20. Oh man. So there was like I don't know if it was issue 18 or 19, where obviously this is start of the third arc and everything like that. So it felt like okay, we're taking a little sidestep from what's going on from the larger story, kind of developing things. But in this issue, Sean brings it together and is like, this is why it's all related. So I really appreciated that because I was like curious what was going on there. But it's like I was like, okay, we get a connection here, makes sense, but then it blows up and it's like, no, there's an even greater bit of like craziness going on here. And in the course of it, Javi Fernandez, we talk about his artwork probably more than anybody on here. I might be wrong, but he's up there. He has some of like this. I feel like we say this every month, or at least every other month. Some of his best work in this issue, friggin' crazy. Like this, a vertical spread. He's got some epic splash pages of Spawn. I mean, there's one image of him like holding this sword that looks so fucking sick. So it's just awesome awesome stuff. I mean, this is another great issue. I can't say enough. Like, if you're only gonna read one Spawn book and you do not have to have read any Spawn book prior to, get started on King Spawn. The collected issues are out there, and it just continue like whether you love the art, love the story, or both, you're getting everything here.
Love that. Well, I can't wait to read this one because the build up over the last several issues, and I had the benefit of just reading them, is really something else. And again, Fernandez's art. I mean, that's why he was our artist of the year.
Mm.
It's just excellent, excellent stuff. So yeah, that is a really great thing about this series too, as you mentioned. Like, read it from the get go. King Spawn issue 1, and you'll be fine.
100%. And speaking of issue ones, there is one from Image this week, and you automatically have dibs on this because you called dibs on all the Lemire stuff that's over at Image, like when that got announced, right?
Yeah, damn right I did, son. Read
Some
what
would call
my
that bullshit, but who knows?
well, so
Whatever.
get rid of the what's new banner for a second.
Mm.
For those watching, if we get rid of this what's new banner, read what it says there. I know.
Take your dibs and shove it.
Baby. But anyways, coming back down there, coming to reality here.
Mm.
Phantom Road issue 1, written by Jeff Lemire with art by Gabriel Hernandez Walta. This is the team that was on Sentient, with colors with Jordi Belair. Such a great team. Lemire is just plain and simple, one of my favorite writers, one of my favorite storytellers, and what he's been doing, with the horror stuff lately has been excellent. And so, Dom is a long haul truck driver attempting to stay ahead of his tragic past when he stops one night to assist Birdie, who has been in a massive car crash. They pull an artifact from the wreckage that throws their lives into fifth gear. Suddenly, a typical midnight run has become a frantic journey through a surreal world where Dom and Birdie find themselves in the quarry of a strange and impossible monsters. This was dubbed as grindhouse horror meets supernatural fantasy. So that alone, right there, that's the elevator pitch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in, and this is just a mini series, so I imagine it's only going to probably be about 6 issues.
Mm-hmm.
But reading this, last night, it's so fucking good because I've said this time and time again. It's him and Chip. They're two of the best just character writers because there's something about how they just sort of are able to tap into the human psyche, convey emotion, and have you feel it, right? Lemire, I think, might be the best at that. He's tremendous. But you get these awesome panels with with Gabriel Hernandez Walter, where he's just, what the fuck is going on here? Holy shit. And it's not quite to the level like because Andrea Sorrentino is on an abstract level of his own. But there's just some great some great panels here where you're like, holy shit, what is this? The creep factor is up there, and I think it's an interesting story. I need to read Devil's Highway because I feel like that's a good trucker sort of horror story on its own, and so
Yeah.
I can't compare the two because I haven't read the two of them yet. But I like this idea, because to me it seems like you could create a lot of really great horror stories by
Yes.
someone alone on the highway just driving a fucking truck, and so it was a great start. Love the art. The coloring, is also great because you've just got this constant sense of foreboding and like what the fuck's gonna happen next. And it's just the first issue, so knocks it out of the park. Absolutely enjoyed it. Can't wait to see where it goes.
Nice. Yeah, that's I mean, I wish I was reading it, but alas, here we are. I actually had to explain the show came up when I was at my local comic shop last week. I don't bring it up often when I go to those places because I want to just be able to talk to the person and hear what they had to say about a bunch of stuff. But I brought up the I had to explain dibs because they're like, oh, why aren't you picking up the Tynan book? And I was like, listen,
My partner's an asshole.
Yeah, I gotta get it. So if I hear this again, because if that person's always there on Thursdays, and that's when I usually go. If I see them again, they're like, we talked about Lemire before, and I'm like, yeah. If they say like, why aren't you picking that up? Well, dibs. Let's see if I have to explain it. I'm just gonna say dibs. See if I don't
Yeah.
have to say anything else. But one book that you did not call dibs on comes from Skybound, and we both really like this. Absolutely would have been a TLDR worthy book. Not The Walking Dead Deluxe issue 58, which is out this week, but I Hate This Place issue 6 from Kyle Starks. It's I feel like it's been a while since we got another issue of that, and of course the artist is Artyom Toplin, Kyle's co-creator on this, and we get an introduction to a new character,
Oh,
new player, and I mean, perfect,
yeah.
awesome.
I mean, you definitely need to have read the first arc, right? Because this is kicking off kicking off.
Yes.
This is either kicking off the second. Yeah, it's kicking off the second arc. And but man, this might be my favorite issue yet, because this was, I think, and don't get me wrong, the first 5 issues of I Hate This Place, or as under its other title, I fucking hate this place. Um, it got really messed up. This issue was fucked up.
Mm,
Oh man,
yep.
and it was great storytelling. You get that horror vibe in a much different sense, right? The monsters weren't the scariest thing, that we get in these pages and got in these pages. So just again, an excellent series. I think a must read series.
Yeah, I agree. And Kyle Starks is like on fire right now because there's another title that he's working on that I'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, like I love the character. Like right away, we meet this new character, first page, and you don't know who it is, but it's like this dude is like he's gonna be a fucking problem, and he's got like 2 other like wacko like
Yeah,
henchmen that are with him too that look like really shifty, like unhinged motherfuckers.
unhinged. Yeah, is putting it lightly.
Yes. So it's good. Yeah. I mean, and it's actually, and I'm looking again at the second page of the issue, and it's like, oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, right.
Oh, boy. Great tone setter for
Mhm.
who this character is, what he makes his henchmen do. Absolutely love it. So yeah, get started on I Hate This Place if you haven't already. It's been a fun ride so far. From Boom, real quick, Magic the Gathering issue 24, Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer special issue 1. We got a few from Dark Horse, Joe. Do you want to rattle those off for me real quick?
Yeah, so we have Star Wars Hyperspace Stories, issue 4. We have Koschei in Hell, issue 3. Castle Full of Blackbirds, issue 4. And then we have a book I picked up,
Mm,
or I plan on reading, I should say, Skull and Bones, Savage Storm, issue 1, written by John Jackson Miller with art by James Mischler. And this is a comic based on the video game, the upcoming Ubisoft Skull and Bones game. So I'm
yeah.
unfamiliar with the game, but it's number one. Dark Horse is quickly becoming one of those studios now for us, where number ones, we're putting them on our must read list.
Yeah, I'm interested in this one. Like I was the same way. Like I thought, oh, is it like from a video game that's already been played? Nope, it's a new upcoming video game, so that I can give it a look and not feel like I'm missing out on a lot. So I'm interested in this. But if there is a Dark Horse book that you should be reading, well, The Witcher is really right is right up there too. But I am in love with Where Monsters Lie. I am so glad that I fucking stole this one from you, you rat bastard. You stole so many good ones from me, especially horror. And this one, like, as soon as I saw the first page, I was just like, oh, I'm taking this shit. Like,
And then I
I have,
went, "What
yep.
book you talking about?" I had
Mm.
okay, take it. Oh,
Yep. Oh my god! And I read the first issue, and I was like, and again, this is Kyle Starks writing this one. The artist on this one is Peter Kowalski, and I'm just like, I I read the whole issue. I'm like, that was such a good first issue. And I'm like,
yeah,
well, what the fuck's going to happen? Like, how is this not going to end so quickly? Now we did talk to Dark Horse, and like this is a limited series right now, but that doesn't mean they can't do more with it. You see this happen with other publishing houses, of course, where they start off as a limited series and then it expands. And there's absolutely potential for this to expand. And the character that they set a great tone in the first issue, and then there's a character you meet in the course of things as the police end up arriving in this like this gated community full of like all these like textbook like horror type characters, and you kind of got to know him a little bit, but then in this issue they really dive more into him and you get to know him, and then you see how the rest of shit kind of unfolds, and it's um like the way this goes in this issue, yes, they could go and do this one story and it will be awesome. I will talk about this as soon as this is done, because after the second issue, it's like I mean, this is great. Kyle Stark is kicking ass, but I really hope that Dark Horse, like that everybody else is checking this out, because then that means Dark Horse is going to want more of this from Kyle Starks and Peter Kowalski, and I really hope so, because it's so, the first two issues, man, are fucking top notch.
I love that. I absolutely love that, and I can't wait until I can start reading it. I don't know when the shift was. We've been doing this for a few years now, and I mean, we've obviously read Dark Horse books, throughout the years, but I feel like they've just been on a massive heater,
Mm-hmm.
like the past year, and I don't know if that's just because we've just in general been reading more, or there's been something where just like I feel like the batting average, the slugging percentage, the on
Mm-hmm.
base has just been at a much higher rate than it has been before, because we're always going to be checking out Marvel, DC, and Image, right? Those are the big three, and then it started off for me with Boom, and then it quickly became AWA. And as I said, a few moments ago, like Dark Horse has now become a studio. They put out a number
Yeah.
one each week. One of us
Mm-hmm.
is going to read it, where I feel like maybe in the past we might not have.
And I
And
think,
and so maybe that's an us thing, where we've
mm,
just become more hip to and they've been doing this for a while, and it's been our ignorance in the past, or if there's been a bit of a shift and they've sort of kicked things into overdrive. But
mm.
regardless, like, they've been putting out some really, really great stuff.
Well, so before we did the show, there was like some Dark Horse stuff that I would read here and there. Like, I mean, Hellboy is a character who
Oh,
I
Harrow
haven't read,
County, right?
right? Harrow County for you. So like we have read some stuff, but also like what we I think is easy for you and I to lose sight of, because like we started this in the middle of the pandemic, in the heart of it, in like August of 2020. So like it's been a very like different time for the publishing industry. I mean, look at Boom, right? They were putting out, they're now, to me, back to normal in terms of the volume they're putting out week to week. I felt like it was always 4 from them, and like a week ish, and then it became like 2 a week for a period of time. You had the printing issues and everything like that, so that could also be part of it. But I will say too, like we have this with Dark Horse, like we're reading, like giving more of their stuff a look, and then like Boom is like we've always been like that about Boom, but I feel like even more so we're getting more from them again, where we talk about Image, where you and I sometimes say like, oh, it feels like we haven't given like Image like a new look at an Image thing that's not like in the Massiverse or from a creator that we already know in some capacity. It's I think that's happening to us because like we're trying to expand and like look at a
Mm.
Dark, look at Vault more, Boom, AWA, some of the other publishers too. Like we try and dabble a little bit more elsewhere, so that could be why that happens. But anyways, let's get moving, because we're setting for the long pace for the longest solicit that we've ever done, even though we haven't, I know we haven't done one in a bit. But let's see, we got that was Dark Horse. We got IDW Sonic the Hedgehog 58, My Little Pony issue 10. Just did the news dump with Mac, and he confirmed that is still his favorite title. Breath of Shadows issue 2, Aftershock. We got All Night and Every Day issue 1 by Ray Fox and Andrea Fratella. From Titan, Star Trek Explorer issue 6. Dynamite, we got Unbreakable Red Sonja issue 4 and Purgatory Must Die issue 3. And then from Artist Elite Comics, we got Artist Elite Presents issue 6. And then before we get to the second week of March, Joe, we do have a book from AWA. I did not realize we had the freaking review copy for this because there have been some changes over there. So I did not get a chance to read this yet, but you did.
I did, baby. We've been looking forward to this one for a while. Red Zone issue 1, written by a friend of the show, Cullen Bunn, and art by Mike Diodato. I remember we've been I remember when we had Axel on, we talked about this, right? The
Mm-hmm.
last time we had this book is going to be absolutely fantastic. Randall Crane, an unassuming American professor of Russian and Slavic studies at NYU, is called in by the U.S. government for a secret international mission back to Russia, where his long buried secrets come to light. When his support team of commandos is ambushed and killed, it's up to Randall to fight his way out of Russia using his particular set of skills. Excellent.
Mm,
Excellent, 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 excellent. They do a really good job of in this first issue, sort of building this character up a little bit, kind of doing the whole Clark Kent Superman thing, where he's
mhm,
not quite like a bumbling doofus, mild mannered professor. You kind of believe that he's he is a just a regular old professor who this is his area of expertise, um, and he they need him to make contact with an old acquaintance of his.
mhm.
But they do a really sort of great job of just sort of dropping some breadcrumbs, right? Good storytelling will do that, and then when you get to the end of the first issue, you just go, "Fuck, there it is." They set their hooks. They're pulling this. They're pulling this big old huss of a catfish in. They reeled me in. They got me.
Nice.
And so I can't wait. Again, can't wait for the second issue. That's what
Mm,
AWA does consistently. And I love Cullen Bunn's writing, and I love that he's doing something again at AWA. So
mhm,
again, and the other thing is Mike Diodato's art. It's always so epic. We've seen a lot of it in the Resistance universe. We see it with
mhm,
his great cover work, but when he's doing his interiors, there's a realism to it, but also this great sort of epic comic book feel to it at the same time.
mhm.
It's so good. It is so good. This is again a must read for anyone.
Yeah, except you almost didn't want to let me read it. Motherfucker tries to call dibs on it after we agreed we're not going to call dibs on this because you took Trojan, I took Black Tape, and they're like, we're not going. I said it, we're not going to do this with Cullen's book, and you were like, okay, fine. Like you didn't put up a fight, no stink, nothing. Motherfucker
Sounds like
texts me
fake news.
after he reads it, and he's like, by the way, dibs on Cullen's AWA book. I'm like, we talked about this. We're both reading Red Zone.
Yeah,
So
I told you I suffer from CRS. I completely forgot.
there's no denying that. Let's get moving on the week of the 8th, the second week of March, as we really start to dig into finally our solicit at a record pace show. Kick us off with Marvel, please.
Yeah, before the show, go. No, I don't think this one will take us any longer than
Mm,
usual.
yes.
So
That's a good
from
sign.
Marvel,
That's another one of your strengths too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm. So week 2 of March 3/8/23, new comic book day from Marvel. We have the Amazing Spider-Man issue 21, Moon Knight issue 21, X-Men issue 20, The Avengers issue 66, Fantastic Four issue 5, Scarlet Witch issue 3, Bounty Hunters issue 32, Star Wars Bounty Hunters issue 32,
Mm,
Nightcrawlers issue 2, Mary Jane Black Cat issue 4, Black Panther issue 15, Star Wars The High Republic issue 6, Silver Surfer Ghost Light issue 2, Bloodline Daughter of Blade issue 1, Star Wars Sinistaros issue 2, and then we have a selection of number ones here. We have X-23 Deadly Regenesis issue 1, written by Erica Schultz with art by Edgar Salazar.
I give this one a look. I'm
Yeah,
interested.
yeah,
X-23.
yeah. She's a great character. New
Mm-hmm.
Mutants Lethal Legend issue 1, written by Charlie Jane Anders, with art by Enid Balam and Elisabetta D'Amico. And we
Lethal
have
Legion. Just gotta make sure that people know.
right, yeah,
Legion.
and that's what I said, right? New
Said legend.
Mutants. Oh Jesus.
Lethal Legend. That's
Um,
the second time. I let it go on another thing, but not that one. I gotta put my foot down somewhere, Joe. Damn it.
and then Predator issue 1, written by Ed Brisson, with art by Nitho Diaz.
I'm not a
Um,
Predator guy, but Ed Brisson does a good job.
Ed Brisson's fantastic. What do we got from DC, Nicholas?
Batman 133, The Flash 794, Poison Ivy issue 10, which that did get turned into an ongoing series. Thought it was going to be 12 issues. Talked about it on the show recently. Very excited about that. Batman Joker Deadly Duo issue 5, Joker Man Who Stopped Laughing issue 6, Monkey Prince issue 12. Then we got a pair of first issues. There's The Flash 1 Minute War Start the Clock issue 1 from Jeremy Adams and Roger Cruz. And then, Joe, we have a book that you wanted to dig into from Tom Taylor.
Well, yeah, it's Tom Taylor, right? We're going to read it, but that's what I'm looking forward to. Adventures of Superman, John Kent issue 1. So he's going back to John Kent, his last run that ended, and Superman is now back, and now we've got Superman being written by Joshua Williamson. So now we get to see Taylor return to John Kent, tell his own sort of John Kent centered story here. So I'm looking forward to this.
Nice, nice. Why don't you give us what we got coming from Image then?
Image. Now this is a week, baby. This is a week from Image. We have Spawn issue 339, the return of Nocterra with Nocterra issue 12, Gunslinger Spawn issue 18, Rogue Sun issue 11, Two Graves issue 5, Blood Tree issue 2, Almighty issue 2, Gospel issue 5. And then we have a couple of number ones here. We have Stoneheart issue 1, written and drawn by Emma Kubert, and Arc issue 1, written by Matt Hawkins with art by Ryan Caddy.
Yeah, Matt Hawkins did what the hell was it? Aphrodite 9, which I talked about on the show a while back.
We both did.
Yeah, yep, that's right. Yeah. Let's see. From Boom, we got Know Your Station issue 4, which you are reading. And then let me roll through some of these others before we get to Dark Horse, because I know there's one book from there you want to dig into. From IDW, TMNT, The Armageddon Game, The Alliance, issue 5. AWA, the book that's going to break up the show. Black Tape,
Snake,
issue 2. Vault, careful what you wish for. West of Sundown, issue 9. Titan, Blade Runner, 2039, issue 4. Ablaze, Traveling to Mars, issue 4. Dynamite, Vampirella versus Red Sonja, issue 5. And Cherish, issue 5. From Aftershock, we got Ridgeline, issue 1 from PJ Tegal, and Roberta in Granada. But we got them from Dark Horse, Assassin's Apprentice, issue 4, Space Job, issue 2. And Joe, a book you've been waiting to talk about for a while.
Yeah, real quick, Space Job issue 2. That was one of the wackiest, most bizarre first issues I've read in a long time. And I kind of can't wait for issue 2 there. But finally, this is one of the original books. This is the second book to drop from Scott Tober way back when on Comixology, now being released in print through Dark Horse. Is The Clear, issue 1, written by Scott Snyder with art by Francis Manapul. And I absolutely love this book. I've talked about it a lot. I wrote several reviews about this way back when. But Snyder's storytelling, Manapul's art it's absolutely electric. On all levels. This is a great sort of, again, it's got this futuristic noir kind of feel to it. This it's got a lot of Maltese Falcon vibes to it. Even with the name of the main character, Sam Dunes is very sort of similar to the main character in Maltese Falcon. But this is a great book. This is a must read. In the not too distant future, mankind no longer sees the world as it truly is. The invention of neurological filters has made it so one can view reality however they may choose. So I just think that's a great premise. So, we all, the old saying, you see the world through rose-colored glasses. You want to do that, you can do it. You want to go out there and you want to see sunshine and fucking lollipops, you see sunshine and fucking lollipops. You want to go out there and live The Last of Us, you can see the world that way. It's such a great concept, but the way Snyder writes, the characters here, tells this story, how it unfolds, how it ends. It's absolutely brilliant. So if you didn't read this initially when it was on Comixology and you're hopping on it now for the first time, fucking do it. The storytelling and the art is absolutely amazing.
Must be nice to be able to read that. Although I got Canary and I got Book of Evil. So
yeah, what the fuck you bitching about? Come on.
Because why not? Let's see. We're in the third week now. Catch your breath real quick, Joe. We are in the third week of March. March 15th is New Comic Book Day that week. Marvel, please.
Okay, so we have Wolverine 31, Hulk issue 13, which I believe is the last issue. This one's being written by Ryan Ottley, no longer by Donny Cates. And I believe this series is coming to an end with that issue. Miles Morales Spider-Man issue 4, Captain Marvel issue 47, Immoral X-Men issue 2, Avengers Forever issue 15, Gold Goblin issue 5, Captain America Symbol of Truth issue 11, Yoda issue 5, Secret Invasion issue 5, Red Goblin issue 2, The Avengers War Across Time issue 3, Bishop War College issue 2, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur issue 4, Hellcat issue 1 written by Christopher Cantwell with art by Alex Linz. And then we have the excellent issue 1, for which you did not tell me who the artist or the writer is for that book.
Which is written by Peter Milligan and drawn by Michael Allred, of course. What the fuck, Joe? From DC, I was like, when it's been a while since we've done this. I was like,
It's been a while.
I knew, like, if it's a book that we're not interested in, just we're not going to write the synopsis down. Why are we wasting the space? Save a tree, you know. But then I was like, oh, do we write down the artists and the stuff? Like, nah, maybe not. I don't know. And I think I did it everywhere else but these two.
Nope. I'm seeing another place you didn't do it.
Oh, I am right now too. How about that? Oh, you know what? That might have been because I don't know. Anyways, moving on. DC, Batgirls 16, Batman Inc. issue 6. Batman: The Adventure Continues, Season 3, Issue 3, Danger Street, Issue 4, Looney Tunes, 271, going on pretty strong right now. The Batman and Scooby-Doo Mysteries, Issue 6, Wildcats, Issue 5. I keep fucking forgetting to include stuff in catching up. That's another book I just caught up on. How many times am I going to freaking do this shit? I got to write it down as soon as it happens.
Write it down, Nicholas.
But Issue 4 was really good. Like after I had the first issue, I was like, okay, it was fine, but it's really like moved in the right direction ever since. So I really like where Wildcats is at right now. And then we got a couple first issues. We got Lazarus Planet, Revenge of the Gods, issue 1 by and Multiversity, Harley Quinn Screws Up the DC, issue 1 by Frank Thierry and Logan Fairbairn, which I just think is a great concept with everything that's going on with the DCU and the films and everything. And then I highlighted this book for you because I thought it might be something that would interest you, especially with Christopher Priest writing it. Superman Lost, issue 1.
Yeah, with art by Carlos Pagulian. Superman's Odyssey of Solitude. After Superman is called away on a routine Justice League mission, Lois awakens to find a complete stranger standing in her living room. The Man of Steel, home much sooner than expected, reveals he has, in fact, been lost in space for 20 years. Lost in space. Nothing and no one seem familiar to him anymore, and this timeless bond between them has been severed, or has it? Can love conquer all? Superman's 85th anniversary celebration. 10 issues long. I'll definitely give the first issue of this a go, no doubt.
Nice. I'm glad I got that one right. Now we got a couple first issues from Image out this week. But before we get to that, take me through everything else that's hitting shelves.
All right, so we have Jeff Lemire's Little Monsters, issue 11. Sean Lewis's The Scorched, issue 16. I Hate Fairyland, issue 5. Time Before Time, issue 21, which I talked about on this program a while back. Image, issue 11.
That was perfect. That was the best one you've ever done.
Black Cloak, issue 3. Art Brute, issue 4. Declan Shalvey's no, not Declan Shalvey.
Nope. I have it up, but I'm going to give you a second, see if you can figure it out.
No, I'm not going to figure it out.
It's Alex Pagnadell and Casper.
Yes, yeah. Alex, I apologize. All Against All, issue 4, with art by Casper Wingard, a series that I absolutely love. Kaya, issue 6. The Last Barbarians, issue 2. Hexware, issue 4. Flawed, issue 6. Monarch, issue 2. Nemesis Reloaded, issue 3. And then we have
Reloaded.
Wait,
before you get into the first issue, I read the first issue of Monarch. Didn't talk about it on here. That's from friend of the show, Rodney Barnes. I really like that first issue. I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. That first issue was really good. So we'll see what the second one looks like, and maybe dig into that when that hits shelves. But yeah, nice. We do got a couple first issues.
So we have the Forged. Issue 1, written by Greg Rucka and Eric Trotman, with art by Mike Henderson. And then we have No One, issue 1, written by Kyle Higgins and Brian Buccoletto, with art by Geraldo Borges.
Yeah, I mean, we've been mentioning No One for a while, because what's so interesting about this and it's in the Massiverse, and again, Massiverse does not mean that you have to read every single title to know what the hell is going on with any other individual title, meaning you can know zero about the Dead Lucky and still read all of Rogue Sun and be totally fine. It's really only that you need to know they exist, and even then it's for Supermassive, really, where that stuff kind of matters. So it's been and then you have other characters that kind of jump in and out, like Shift, who we've seen in the Dead Lucky recently quite a bit, and we've also seen in Radiant Black quite a bit, but it hasn't really, like, you don't know the characters previously. They introduced them well. So really been enjoying that. And then anytime we get something new in the Massiverse, it's interesting. But with no one, there's like a scripted podcast series that's going along with this too that I'm very excited about. I'll just go through the synopsis real quick, Joe. 10 months ago, the Richard Roe murders shocked the city of Pittsburgh, which is uncharted territory for the Massiverse. In the months since, the killings have sparked a dangerous political movement, copycat killers, and a masked vigilante who's still determined to hold the powerful accountable. Not a symbol, not a hero. They could be anyone. They're no one. So I mean, we've been in on this since it got announced. I'm very
Yeah.
excited for this one.
Yeah, and they're doing something a little bit different too with the podcast. I think Patton Oswalt's attached to that, as well as uh, uh, Jennifer Lee Cook, I believe, as well.
Okay.
So this should be excellent. It should be a lot of fun to read.
Then we got the Walking Dead Deluxe issue 59 from Skybound, of course, prints through Image, out the week of the 15th. Let's see. I'll just roll through all these other ones that we have left, Joe. From Boom, we got Berserker, your favorite title, issue 12, House of Slaughter 13, Behold, Behemoth issue 4, which you've been
Excellent, by
loving.
the way. Yeah.
Harrower issue 2, which I stole that one on you. And I really liked that first issue. You're not going to be happy that you have to wait on this book. The
Forgot
Vampire
about
Slayer.
it.
Oh, wow. Well, that's no, that's probably for the best for now. The Vampire Slayer issue 12, Dark Horse Star Wars The High Republic Adventures issue 3, Spy Superb issue 3, the end of at least this story. I don't know if it's going to be the end of the whole world. Like, I feel like they could do more with Spy Superb, but really like that so far. Then we got Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, Masters of the Universe, Masterverse issue 2, White Savior issue 3, IDW, we got TMNT, The Last Ronin, The Lost Years, issue 2. Yeah.
So what I'm going to say about this is that half this book is excellent, and the other half is not great, Bob.
You don't
Not
like the
great,
Tiny
Bob.
Turtles?
The Tiny Turtles, get the fuck out of here. I don't need a new generation of turtles. It's the Lost Years. Give me what you say in there in the fucking title. Give me the shit that happens leading up to where we are in the Last Ronin. I don't need these dopey looking baby turtles.
You don't even need to lead us up right to before the last one. You could. There's some. I feel like you could just go far back. I mean, there's a. You have
that
like
was the best part of the first issue. Was all that stuff, with that particular turtle. That's what I wanted.
Way more.
Anything else? Anything else is just.
Yeah. TMNT, The Armageddon Game, issue 6, Star Trek issue 5, Star Trek Resurgence issue 5, and then for the only first issue from IDW that week is Star Trek Defiant issue 1 by Christopher Cantwell and Angel Unzueta. AWA Trojan issue 3, which Joe has dibs on. Ablaze, we got Family Time issue 4, Comixology Retroverse issue 4, and then from Dynamite we got Darkwing Duck issue 3, Draculina Blood Simple issue 2, Lord of the Jungle issue 4, and then of course your favorite title, Joe, Mad Balls versus Garbage Pail Kids, Time Again, Slime Again issue 2.
All right, so that takes us to week 4.
Yes, sir. The week of the 22nd. If my math is
Okay,
correct.
so March 22nd, 23, new comic book day from Marvel. We have the Amazing Spider-Man issue 22, Darth Vader issue 22, She-Hulk issue 11, Punisher issue 10, Carnage issue 11, Marauders issue 12, Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants issue 2, Spider-Man the Lost Hunt Wasp issue 3, Extreme X-Men issue 4, Joe Fixit issue 3, Monica Rambeau issue Photon issue 4, Tiger Division issue 5, and then the number ones that we have coming out that week are Doctor Strange issue 1, written by Jed McKay with art by Pasquale Ferry. We have Woman of Marvel issue 1, written by Various, and I'm going to assume drawn by Various as well. Seems like a collection of short stories. And then we have Avengers Rage of Ultron, Marvel Tells issue 1, written by Rick Remender and with art by Jerome Opena. I love Rick Remender. This one I'll probably give a glance at.
Ooh, okay, nice. Interesting. I did not expect that, but it does make sense with Remender, of course. From DC on the week of the 22nd, we got The Flash 795, Nightwing 102, Batman Superman World's Finest issue 13, Wonder Woman 797, Superman 2, Catwoman 53, Deceased War of the Undead Gods issue 7, Swamp Thing, not gonna have to wait too long for this one, Joe. Swamp Thing, Green Hell issue 3, Black Adam issue 9, Stargirl, The Lost Children issue 5, Harley Quinn, the animated series, Legion of Bats issue 6, Fables issue 158, GCPD, The Blue Wall issue 6, and then a pair of first issues. We got DC's Legion of Bloom issue 1 by various writers and artists. Again, short stories like you were talking about before. And then Batman One Bad Day, Ra's al Ghul issue 1. Now, I don't know about you. We haven't really talked about these, but you haven't been checking these out, right? I haven't.
No, but this one seems interesting because it's written by Tom Taylor with art by Ivan Rice.
Yeah,
So
and I might look at some of the other ones at some point, but they're like not at the top. They're not a high priority for me. But when this got announced, I was like, Tom Taylor's writing one. I'm gonna look at that one. And Ra's al Ghul is just like is a very interesting character in general. How about image books for the week of the 22nd?
all right, we have Monstrous issue 44, Vanish, thankfully,
Mhm.
issue 5. Speaking of Vanish, you get your book there, Nicholas?
I did. Yeah, we talked about it.
Did you show it on the show? You should have had it ready to go. You know, you could show the fine people what it
Did
looks
I
like.
not?
It's signed. You
Did I
probably
not
did.
put a picture up? No, I didn't put it on. I didn't bring it on the show. You're right about that. Your memory's not failing you there, but I thought I tweeted it out.
It
Or
doesn't help
not
me
tweeted.
here now. You know, we had a prop for the show for the people watching,
I've
Nicholas.
had that prop for a while.
Christ.
Oh, I know,
Yeah,
but I put it on. I put it on Instagram. I did, and I said I
okay,
was.
yeah, it doesn't help me now. Should have had it at the ready. It's dropping. You should, anyways. Jesus,
Yep.
rookie. Undiscovered Country, issue 24.
I'm so confused.
Radiant Pink, issue 4. Infernal Girl Red, issue 3. Plush, issue 5. The Magic Order 4, issue 3. Unnatural Blue Blood, issue 6. That's a Mirka Andolfo book. Torrent, issue 2. Immortal Sergeant, issue 3. And then a number 1, Nicholas, that you wanted to discuss real quick.
Yeah. This is like when we talk about with Image, where it feels like we haven't given as many like first issues a new look unless we know the creators or know like the thing like in the massive verse or something to that degree. It's like I don't like doing that. Like I want to check out Image, first issues, but there's a lot of good stuff elsewhere too. So it does get tough at times. But I see this premise, and that's always a good premise is always gonna, or a premise that's in my realm is always gonna bring me in. Dead Romans issue 1 by Fred Kennedy and Nick Marinkovich, I believe is how you say his name. Arminus, a Germanic prince raised in Rome, has sworn vengeance against the empire that butchers his people. He wants to make a queen of the woman he loves, Horonia, a fellow slave. Now, 50,000 Romans will die to give her a throne she never asked for or wanted. Lush, beautiful illustrations bring to life a brutal tale of love and war from the birth of the Roman Empire. It is also a mini series too, so it's like a little bit less of an investment and everything. But so I'm gonna give that first issue a look and report back on it when the time comes.
Nice. Yeah, let me rip through these real quick as well. While we're at it, Skybound, we have Stillwater, issue 18, written by Chip Zdarsky. It's been on a bit of a break. Can't wait to get back into that. And then from Boom, we have Grimm, issue 9, which we talked about on the show just a couple weeks ago. Damn Them All, issue 6 by Cy Spurrier. MMPR, issue 106, again, written by friend of the show, Misty Flores. Dune, House of Harkonnen, issue 3. So a really solid week there from Boom in terms of their ongoing series, but they have an issue 1 dropping that week, and we know what the rule is. Boom, 1, read it. So we have Neighbors, issue 1, written by Jude Ellison, S. Doyle, with art by Letizia Cardanici. Sure. When Janet and Oliver Gowdy move to a quaint mountain town, Their daughter Casey becomes part of a horrific chain of events, revealing that their neighbors are anything but they seem. So you had me at a horrific chain of events, and you had me at Boom issue 1.
Mm-hmm.
So very much looking forward to this, and hopefully it's one I can go. I can dibs on your dumb ass.
I don't know how I feel about that part. Anyways, speaking of dibs, from Dark Horse, we got Blue Book issue 2 from James Tynion the fourth out in the week of the 22nd. Joe has that one under wraps. Star Wars: The High Republic Adventures issue 4, which I do question if they're going to get 2 issues of that out in the same month, but that was what's on League of Comic Geek, so I went with it. Then Gods Against Gru issue 4, and then Order and Outrage issue 1 by Jim Starlin and Rags Morales. So that might give a look, but I'm not really certain on it. Joe, why don't you take us through some of the next few here?
Yeah, I'll just rip us through until week 5. So from IDW, we have TMNT issue 138 and Earth Divers issue 6. And then we have a number 1 from them, Godzilla Best of King Ghidorah, written by Various, drawn by Various, I'm going to assume. From Vault, we have Door by Door, Night by Night, issue 4, written by Cullen Bunn. Excellent series. From Titan, we have Kamen Rider 01, issue 3, and Moriarty Clockwork Empire, issue 2. I have the first issue of that. I'm dying to read it, so hopefully that's when I can read on talk about catching up. From Dynamite, we have Gargoyles issue 4, Vampirilla Strikes Again issue 11, Red Sonja, Hell Sonja issue 4, and from Comicsology, we have Ask for Mercy season 4, episode 6. I hate when you call comic book seasons. I think that is dumb. And then just lastly, from Source Point Press, we have a couple of number 1s. Curse of Cleaver County, issue 1, written by Garrett Gunn with art by Kit Wallace, and Deep Dark, issue 1, I'm assuming written and drawn by David Sundra.
Yes, and I will say too on the Cleaver County front too. That seems like an interesting one. It's an anthology series that might be worth giving a look if you're looking for some indie publisher stuff that we don't talk about on the show a heck of a lot. But as you catch your breath, Joe, we turn towards the final week of March, the week of the 29th. Let's start off as we do with Marvel, please.
All righty, so 3/29/23, new comic book day. This is a hell of a month for for comics. Marvel, we have Daredevil issue 9, Thor issue 32, Deadpool issue 5, The Invincible Iron Man issue 4, Star Wars: The High Republic issue 7, Strange Academy Finals issue 5, Star Wars: The High Republic The Blade issue 4, Sabretooth and the Exiles issue 5, Planet Hulk Worldbreaker, issue 5, Betsy Braddock Captain Britain issue 2, and then a slew of number 1s, which I'll just rattle off real quick. We have Avengers Beyond issue 1, written by Derek Landy with art by Greg Land. We have Venom Lethal Protector 2 issue 1, written by David Michelini with art by Farid Karami. We have Clobberin' Time issue 1, written and drawn by Steve Skoroch. We have X-Men Unforgiven issue 1, written by Tim Seeley with art by Sid Koshian. This one I might give a look because I really dig in Tim Seeley's work lately. It's Jeff. I'm Jeff. Issue 1, written by Kelly Thompson with art by Guihiru. And then lastly, we have Star Wars Return of the Jedi, Jabba's Palace, issue 1, written by Mark Guggenheim with art by Alessandro Miracolo. Side note, kind of feel like I nailed some of these names today.
You did a really good job with the names. It's the titles that you had more. Dying. I'm like trying to hold it in over here over Planet Hulk Windbreaker. That's the last thing when you just Hulk ripping farts. Yeah. Across the universe. Oh man. But I will say with when it comes to, so it's Jeff, for those who don't know, Jeff the Land Shark, I believe is Gwenpool. Because he ends up playing with hanging out with Deadpool at one point too. So that's who that character is. Is definitely a kid's, it seems like a kid's title at least. And then the Star Wars thing, I guess they're gonna start doing some stuff for Return of the Jedi. It looks like some like one-offs with it as to like grow that story. I don't know. But might be a collector's thing, I think, more than anything.
Just give us new stuff.
Sure. I'm not going to fight you there. Let's see. DC. We got Detective Comics 1070, Action Comics 1053, Dark Knights of Steel issue 10, which is a great series. Harley Quinn 28, Justice Society of America issue 4, Gotham City Year 1 issue 6, Tim Drake Robin issue 7, Lazarus Planet Revenge of the Gods issue 2, Punchline The Gotham Game issue 6, Batman Gotham Knights Gilded City issue 6, Blue Beetle Graduation Day issue 5, The Sandman Universe The Dead Boy Detectives issue 4, Batman The Audio Adventures issue 6, and then DC RWBY issue 2. Then we got a pair of first issues from DC this week. Unstoppable Doom Patrol issue 1 by Dennis Culver and Chris Burnham. And then Waller versus Wildstorm issue 1 by Evan Narcisse and Spencer Ackerman. And art is by Jesus Marino. And Jorge Fornes is the main cover for this, which is like made me in on this series since I saw that cover. And it just, I mean, never mind like the characters that are there. So I love that style, but that's the kind of thing that definitely used to happen to me as a kid. It's like, oh, I see this cover and I see this art, it's cool. And then I open it up and it's like, wait, this isn't what I was expecting.
Balls.
But cool characters in the mix. It looks like Deathstroke's going to be in the mix, Amanda Waller, among others. So I'm excited to check this one out and give it a look. Let's go to Image though.
Okay, so from Image, we have King Spawn issue 21, Saga issue 63, Spawn issue 340, Radiant Black issue 23, Junkyard Joe issue 6, Bloodstained Teeth issue 10, Philadelphia issue 29, Hitomi issue 5, Lovesick issue 6, Local Man issue 2. By the way, Local Man, I forgot to put that on my catching up. Excellent. Again,
Yeah.
Tim Steele. Excellent.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, I saw some buzz about that on Twitter. That's good. Nice.
Yeah, excellent. Savage Dragon issue 265, Voyages issue 5, and it's a Mark Millar book. I feel like you should call dibs on this.
Well, I was gonna, but then I had another one that I called dibs on, and I was like, I called dibs on both if you want.
This is why I was buttering you up, but I called you the nice guy. Give you something and then take it away. But the Ambassadors issue 1, written by Mark Millar and Frank Quietly, the most ambitious comic book of all time, is finally here. Imagine you can gift superpowers to 6 people in a world of 8 billion. Who do you choose? Join 6 of the greatest artists in the industry for an enormous story about ordinary people from around the world, explaining why it should be them. So excellent premise to this.
I remember hearing about this a while back. I actually should have called dibs on this one, but I actually did call dibs on Indigo Children issue 1 by Kurt Pyers, Rockwell White, and Alex Giotto. Because this, Joe, is Radiant Black meets Department of Truth in this action-packed sci-fi mystery epic as journalist Donovan Price hunts down the extraordinary gifted Indigo Children after their mysterious disappearance 15 years prior.
I mean, this book's going to have to be something else if it's setting its bar as those 2 books.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you're setting yourself up to be let down, but you take dibs, buddy.
Okay.
You take dibs.
Think twice about it.
From Boom, we have Briar issue 4,
Mm-hmm.
MMPR TMNT volume 2 issue 4, Something is Killing the Children issue 30, Once Upon a Time at the End of the World issue 5, The Approach issue 5, Mosley issue 3. All those books fucking kick ass.
Mm-hmm.
From Dark Horse, we have Hellboy in Love issue 4, It's Only Teenage Wasteland, oh yeah, issue 4.
Another good one. Another one I've been liking a
lot. Dragon Age, The Missing issue 3. And then we have, I believe you've read some Lady Baltimore stuff in the past. So we have Lady Baltimore, The Dream of Aikilos, issue 1, written by Mike Mignola, Christopher Golden, with art by Bridget Connell.
You know what? You just reminded me why we had like that thing with Dark Horse, because we had issues with review copies at one point. It totally threw us off. We didn't. That's what it was. That's why we weren't talking about it as much, because we weren't talking about it on the show here because we weren't able to get a look at them before we were recording. That's what it was. No longer an issue, of course. But I've completely forgotten. All right, I'll finish this off, Joe. So IDW Star Trek.
Whoa, phrasing, buddy.
I mean, your head went there. But I mean, okay. Star Trek: Strange New Worlds Illyrian Enigma issue 4, Dead Seas issue 4, and then for first issues we got Dungeons and Dragons Saturday Morning Adventures issue 1 by Sam Maggs, David M. Boer, and George Cambadias. Vault Barbaric Hell to Pay issue 3, Heart Eyes issue 5, Dead Box issue 5, Nightfall double feature actually I didn't write down the issue number for double feature, so that's good. Godfell issue 2, and then we got a first issue songs for the Dark Afterlife issue 1 by Andrea Fort, Michael Christopher Heron, and MJ Erickson. I'm actually interested in giving this one a look real quick. Bethany is a necromancer and a hero along with her companions, Elisar and Jonas. She has finally found the rumored covenant. Her perilous journey has brought her to her last bastion of necromancers, and resurging prejudice have them in shambles. Can Bethany unite them in the face of escalating tensions, or will the coming war shatter all of her dreams for a peaceful future? From Valiant, we got Exo Man of War, Unconquered issue 1 by Becky Cloonan, Michael Conrad, and Liam Sharp. Ablaze, Lovecraft Unknown Kadath issue 7. And then Dynamite, we got Vampirella Year 1 issue 6 and Unbreakable Red Sonja issue 5. And that, folks, is a solicit. Jeez, man.
That's actually not bad.
Considering, yeah,
not bad.
Not bad in general by our standards, and considering how long we went and what's new, that's actually pretty fast for us. Yeah. But yeah, so next week it looks like we're gonna have a mainline episode more than likely, as long as everyone here is at full strength. But that is TBD. But we will this time I mean it. Like, try and stay sexy, Joe, until next week.
I'm gonna do my best. I'm having a wisdom tooth taken out, so we'll see how I'm talking next week.